Jason Aldean, Full Throttle Tour 2025, powered by Patriot Mobile. When the lights come on. Friday, September 19th, Wells Fargo Arena. With Nate Smith. You set my world on fire. And Ray Lynn. Jason Aldean. On sale now at iowaeventcenter.com. Jason Aldean Live.
College wrestling is back on Iowa PBS.
Hello, everyone.
Join me, Tim Johnson, along with Wartburg coaching legend Jim Miller for 5 weeks of exciting college duels on your statewide network and online at iowapbs.org. Our next matchup features the women of William Penn taking on Grandview in Des Moines. Let's go. Tuesday night at 7 on Iowa PBS.
Murph and Andy, proudly presented by Ramsey Subaru and BMW of Des Moines. Live and on demand across Iowa everywhere. From the Channel Seed Studios. This is Murph and Andy. Murph and Andy. Connected by Cellular Advantage.
This is Murph and Andy live on Iowa Everywhere alongside Andy Fales. I'm Keith Murphy, and Andy, I have a food grazing hangover today. I went into work yesterday about 1 p.m., worked up until 5, then came home for a couple hours. Jenny had the spread out, and I just ate way past the point of common sense or even a feeling of fullness. And the rest of the night I was uncomfortable, and I always feel like, why did I do that? That was stupid.
That was my intent too. I was going to do that, and
you didn't do it?
No. I missed the whole pregame and the very beginning of the Super Bowl. I was working on What's Bugging Andy to get that all written and put to bed, and all the photos sent back and stuff. Got all that done because I was going to run over to a friend's Super Bowl party, and I got in the car and called Kahala real quick, and she said,
everybody's passed out.
Elin has influenza A. We're not going to the Super Bowl party. So I said, okay. I turned right around. I went back to the station. I had brought some leftovers. So I sat there by myself in the sports office, ate my leftovers, and watched a football game alone.
It is a glamorous job at times.
Well, I will say that I did get to watch the game much more closely than I normally would, but I was thinking about Super Bowl party spreads the whole time. Chicken wings especially. I don't get those enough. I don't have enough chicken wings in my life, but I mean, people, our friends were talking about how much they were eating and everything, and I finally just started ignoring them.
AD, how was the spread over at the Downs mansion?
It was great. Yeah, we had just another family over with some kids. It was chaos. We gave them the basement and just let them go wild.
That's the thing to do with kids.
Oh, absolutely.
Find a separate area. You're down there.
They
Try
don't
not to
really
get
care
hurt.
about the game. Yeah.
Put up a dog gate.
That's exactly
baby
right.
Baby gate.
But yeah,
Put pillows everywhere.
Judy had a nice spread, and I kind of like you, Murph. I grazed a little too much. Know, it's just everything looks so good. You want to try everything. You want to give it all its due, and so that was a little rough. But other than the outcome of the game, which just was kind of a dud, it was a great night.
I never know what my weakness is going to be, and this time it was this big bowl of malted milk balls, and they were the large malted milk balls, and they were perfect. And I just couldn't stop grabbing them. I kept eating all the other stuff too, but I'd grab 4 or 5 malted milk balls every time. That's a lot of chocolate, but gosh, they're so good. And I had already had milk duds earlier in the day. More on that later. Wouldn't it be nice if today was a holiday?
Yes.
It would. Yeah, absolutely.
They need
it
one
would
in
also be nice
Philadelphia.
if today was Sunday.
Yeah, that's true too. Guest House Tavern and Oyster in West Des Moines sets the table for sports and more. Coming up, DeMan, Super Dud, and Seal the Seal. It's all presented by Guest House Tavern, Northwest inspired, Midwestern hospitality. Right now, high or low since our last show.
Presented by Wealth Charter Retirement Planning and Tax.
Lots of changes for retirement accounts this year. Tim Hawkins and the team at Wealth Charter are your guys to help simplify things. Explain those changes. I'm going low today. Yeah, the flu bug has hit our house. We've had an amazingly healthy fall and winter thus far, but we could just kind of tell that Aylin had a little something extra in the past couple of days, and she went to the clinic, got tested, and she's got influenza A. So she is out. Like now,
it could be out for a while. This has been a pesky sickness. I mean, a lot of us have had colds or flu for more than a week.
Yeah, I know, and it's when it's all around you, you just kind of know it's just a matter of time before maybe you don't get it, but somebody in your family gets it, and you got that like sick house effect going on where there's just like clothes all over the place and stuff. It feels just kind of dirty, and that's going on.
The boss is trying to be responsible, but at the same time, reality is hitting. It's like yeah, if you're sick, stay home. Don't bring it into the office.
Well, unless you can come in and work for just a little while.
Yeah. How are we going to get through this day? We've got
wash
11
your hands.
people out.
Yeah, wash your hands. Use the hand sanitizer.
Scrub down. I'm going to go with a high because I finally saw September 5. Cade and I went to the movies yesterday morning, which Sunday morning can be a sneaky good time to go to the theater. So we got the milk duds, got the popcorn, got the big drink. We're the only ones in the theater at Copper Creek. Probably not surprising for this particular movie at this particular time. And we would wipe those stupid looks off our faces too, because this is a somber movie, September 5, but it was terrific. It's like a tight 95 minutes, tells the story of that terrible day at the 1972 Olympics, September 5, of course, when the Israelis are taken hostage. And
the
this
Olympic
is
team.
It's all from the Israeli Olympic team. And this is all from the perspective of Roone Arledge, Peter Jennings, Howard Cosell, and the production team in the booth at ABC. As you see, in real time, innovations happen in broadcasting because they're forced to do things in order to bring this story. And it's really well told. It's, of course, ultimately sad and tragic.
So tragic.
But it is a really well done movie. So I'm glad I got to see that. And then, Andy, the night before, we stopped by the Valair Supper Club, Tom Archer's Poor Man's Country Club, and the Work in Progress Dive Bar there at the Valair that you did a story over at WHO 13. And we met Ed Wilson and his wife, Kate, and his girlfriend, Willie Farrell, and his wife, Jenny. And it was just had a really good time there. And Chef Ryan is a big fan of the show and listens to Iowa Everywhere. And he sent us a bottle of champagne. What a nice guy. And it was just... yeah, it's just nice to have this in Des Moines. It was a cool evening, and we enjoyed it.
Yeah, it is a really cool place. I'm glad you got to go over to the Supper Club, too. You had dinner over there?
We did.
Nice.
I had spaghetti and meatballs. I think most everybody else had steak, and it was really well done. White tablecloths.
So nice. The space, what they did with that, it's incredible. That was just a dirt floor. There was nothing down there. Yeah. And Sam Summers did so much with it. And it is cool. Yeah, they brought Ryan over from Harbinger. He was that's a good get when you get Harbinger's executive chef there. Brought him over, and he's just kind of been given carte blanche. Just let him do whatever he wanted with that kitchen. And it is kind of cool to see that he has been a fan of our radio show for a long time, and just a heck of a nice guy.
He and Willie Farrell basically know every Italian family in Des Moines, so that was a lengthy conversation. That went on. And then at one point during the night, Willie bestowed an Italian horn upon Cade, which is a big honor. And Cade was
the little horn that you wear around your neck.
Yeah,
hang it from your rearview mirror.
I love the photos there at the Valair. It reminds me a little bit of the surf, just to see the history, all the people who have performed there. And as we were checking in at the supper club, one of the cool things they have up on the wall is the business transactions, the contracts that famous groups sign to perform at the Valair. And there's like the Beach Boys, $500 to perform.
That was their first
Valair.
contract, their first gig outside of California.
Wow, didn't know that. Yeah, so it's a cool place.
What I'm
glad,
told, yeah.
I'm glad you encouraged me to go over there. Interact on YouTube. Email Murph_Andy at iowaeverywhere.com. On X, it's Murph_Andy. It's all powered by the Cellular Advantage, proudly representing U.S. Cellular since 1993. 35 regional locations. Let's get the buzz.
The Buzz. Brought to you by Logier Heating and Cooling.
Well, the Eagles take a 34-0 lead and dominate one of the least competitive Super Bowls in recent memory, maybe in history of all 59 games. 40-22 final score doesn't tell the story of how early this was over. This game, if you're in a text thread of anything, even if you saw the Patriots come back against the Falcons, I think anybody watching this felt like the game was over in the second quarter. One team was clearly better than the other.
Yeah, the defense set the tone early, and they were all over Patrick Mahomes. He never really was able to get settled. I mean, he looked magical in a number of plays where he's able to just keep it alive and still find receivers downfield. But the game, you're right. I mean, it was pretty much over by the time he started doing that. And, I mean, the Chiefs were still looked really good. I mean, that tells you something about this game. I mean, as lopsided as it was, the Chiefs, other than their offensive line, I mean, they stopped Saquon Barkley. I mean, they really played good run defense.
Yeah, they did.
He still completed a couple of, really cool-looking touchdown passes and ran around. I mean, they did some good things. But it just looked like the Eagles had a game plan to just put the screws on the pass rush on the offensive line, and they got that going early and then didn't let up.
With no blitzing. The Eagles did not blitz a single play.
They didn't
and
need to.
Sacked Patrick Mahomes 6 times and made him so uncomfortable. No thoughtful person is doubting the absolute greatness of Patrick Mahomes, but this will pause the GOAT talk here for a while. When you look, first of all, he didn't have a good game. A lot of that credit goes to the Eagles defense. He did pad some stats late, but he didn't have a great game. But the Brady conversation ends now, at least for a while. I mean, Patrick Mahomes has 2 losses in the Super Bowl for a combined 40 points. Tom Brady walked off the field with the lead in all 10 Super Bowls after his last drive. And if you look just at statistics, Brady had 21 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Mahomes has 7 touchdown passes, 7 interceptions. So he's been better overall in the Super Bowl.
I think you could probably take it deeper than Tom Brady, too. I mean, this is Patrick Mahomes losing 2 Super Bowls, not looking good. And I can remember when Brady lost his first Super Bowl. And I remember people saying, okay, that's it. It's over. He is not ever going to be as great as Joe Montana.
Because Montana was a perfect 4-0.
Yeah, he never lost a Super Bowl. But there were others saying, okay, well, wait, he's got some time, and ended up just ran up the number too high and then won a bunch of those. And then,
right.
The conversation was over. But I mean, at that point, I mean, you did have that point. And this is all subjective, and we place, admittedly too much emphasis on Super Bowl wins, but that's what we do. It's like NCAA tournament wins for a basketball coach. I mean, that is how we measure, as fans, greatness. And, he's lost 2 Super Bowls and did not look good in those Super Bowls. Now, he's been in a bunch, and he could still be in a bunch more and maybe right this. But, I mean, these are 2 pretty big dings in his armor at this point.
Yeah, and the argument against Joe Montana, and it took more thinking to go, or just the argument for Brady at that time. It's like, hang on, Why does losing the NFC Championship game, why is that better than getting to the Super Bowl and then losing? But you kind of understand it. It's like
you got to the big game and you were great.
You were at your best.
And Joe Montana was great.
He was.
In all 4 of those Super Bowls, and he never lost. Now, some of those were a couple of them were close. One of them was the biggest blowout in Super Bowl history and
Against the Broncos.
The most lopsided win ever. And I don't know that we'll ever touch that. That was 55-10.
Jeez.
I believe that was what the Broncos had, and those were garbage points. I mean,
Bad job by the committee.
Plowed them. I think Montana got subbed out so they can get Steve Young into that game. But I mean, that was a ridiculous Super Bowl. But yeah, I mean, look, I mean, this is all subjective talk. Nobody's got, a real scientific measurement of this or anything. But you look. I mean, it's unfair, but you get too much credit and you get too much blame. But this is how we measure.
Difficult to give the MVP to the defense of Philadelphia, though you certainly could make that case that was the most valuable players were the Eagles defense. I mean, it's 34-0 against the Chiefs and no blitzing, but they took Patrick Mahomes completely off his game. But Jalen Hurts ultimately is the MVP. His scrambling was great, made some terrific passes, leadership unquestioned. And what a cool perseverance story this is. I mean, this guy was benched for Tua at Alabama, handled that all with class, did all the interviews even after he was benched, was happy for his team, transferred to Oklahoma, had success there, and now comes back 2 years after losing the Super Bowl. He becomes the first quarterback in a rematch of quarterbacks in the Super Bowl to win it.
Yeah. Usually it's just kind of one team is just dominant over another, and until they do a wholesale change, that doesn't change. But this was some pretty good drama for the NFL to see the Eagles able to flip the script like this. I mean, they really flipped it.
They flipped it big. Here's how the end of Super Bowl 59 sounded on Eagles radio.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's over. The Philadelphia Eagles have won Super Bowl 59. They have beaten the Kansas City Chiefs 40-22. It's their second Super Bowl win in 7 years. What a game. What a season. What a team. The greatest Eagles team in modern history. Eagles fans, savor it and rejoice.
That guy doesn't sound anywhere near as angry as Mitch Holthus.
Yeah.
What?
Well,
AD,
how many people were thinking about Mitch Holthus when it was clear the Chiefs were going down last night?
Have you found Mitch Holthus like his call or anything?
I haven't yet. No, I've been searching all morning and they've scrubbed it.
Guess we don't have to deal with the Chiefs anymore. Is that it?
You can disrespect the Chiefs. You can doubt the Chiefs.
Yeah. Oh, he went down the list of D's there. Yeah. I mean, I was thinking about this. I was also thinking about the streets of Philadelphia.
The Springsteen song?
No. Well, no. That's a good point. No, definitely not. That was in the movie Philadelphia with Tom Hanks.
That's
a really sad movie. No.
Yeah.
No. I was thinking like just how many cars were going to burn last night. I mean, how many riots? Apparently police, though, got ahead of it in Philadelphia. They did a controlled burn on Saturday.
How do you do a controlled car burn?
Yeah, they went ahead and just set fire to as many cars as possible, made sure any cars that were disabled on the road, they went ahead and burned them ahead of time so they knew the fire wouldn't get away from them last night.
Jeez, I didn't know that. Well, of the past 25 Super Bowls, only the Seahawks 43, Broncos 8 registered as less exciting by data. The most exciting was last year. So we got back to back. Last 25 years, last year's is the most exciting, meaning the game can change at any moment and is up in the air, play to play. And that was Chiefs 25, 49ers 22. This was the next to least exciting, only one worse. Remember that Seahawks Broncos Super Bowl 43-8?
Well, no, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd forgotten about that Super Bowl. I mean, there have been some horrible blowouts. The Bears over the Patriots was a terrible blowout, but the Bears had so much drama that season that it was, for their fans. It was really, really fun to watch. I don't know that. I mean, so you got, and then, watching Joe Montana and Jerry Rice just completely dissect the Broncos was fun. I don't remember anything about that Seahawks game. I mean, their defense was great. That was Peyton Manning, right? That was the quarterback of Denver at the time. Wasn't it Peyton Manning at that point?
He won. Did he lose the Super Bowl with the Broncos? I
feel like he was the quarterback. I don't remember who the quarterback would have been of the Broncos at that point.
If it wasn't him?
It was.
It was Peyton Manning.
It was Peyton Manning. Okay.
Yeah.
2 picks in the first half.
I think some of that is due to the fact it's the Seahawks and they had those uniforms on.
It could be.
And the Broncos had their bad uniforms on too.
They can win again, and the single biggest play in Super Bowl history, the Malcolm Butler interception at the 1-yard line because they don't give the ball to Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah, Marshawn Lynch. Yeah, right.
This Super Bowl had a great local moment. Cooper DeJean, first of all, he comes in wearing his OAC BIG letter jacket, proudly from the town of Odebolt, Iowa. Fewer than 1,000 people, 4 times the cattle. He's wearing shoes that say 712 to the 215, meaning Iowa to Philadelphia, on his cleats. And on his 22nd birthday, his first NFL interception is of Patrick Mahomes, and he takes it to the house, which surprised none of us. When he picked it, didn't you think he's taking this back?
Yeah. I did. I mean, he had space at the time, but I mean, he's just that guy, and we all understand this. I mean, anytime he gets his hands on the ball, he's a threat to score. And we've known that for a long time. I mean, there were times where we were watching Iowa play Nebraska, and we're just like, okay, the only way the Hawkeyes can win this game is if Nebraska punts to Cooper DeJean or kicks off to Cooper. I mean, he was like their best chance to score. We
best
knew
offensive player was on defense.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there was no guarantee he was even going to touch the ball, but we thought of him that way. But yeah, this didn't surprise us, but he instantly made his name known nationally.
What a 22nd birthday. You're in New Orleans. You've won the Super Bowl. You returned an interception of Patrick Mahomes for a touchdown.
All the teams that passed on him, too. Man, I was watching that draft. 40th? I was like, it was crazy. There were a whole bunch of teams. The Packers passed on him. The Lions passed on him. And a bunch of teams that really, really could have used him. I mean, Midwestern teams that would have been much easier for us to follow. As it turns out, he goes to the Super Bowl and gets a pick 6 in the Super Bowl. So that couldn't be any easier to follow.
Yeah, and you wonder how much of social bias is in that. Just the thought of NFL experts that there aren't white cornerbacks. And
well, he had an injury problem at the end of the season, missed the last number of games, I believe, and I can remember them talking about that on draft night because I was watching really closely. There was a bunch of teams that I really wanted him to go to, and they kept bringing that up, and teams tend to put too much into that, a previous injury. I feel like there's been a long list of players that teams passed on because there was some sort of injury in the past, and then they ended up really regretting it. But I mean, he was so electric. I mean, he's a modern Deion Sanders type. I mean, I'm not going to say he's that good yet, but I mean, great cover, and just a phenomenal kick returner. And just a guy that if he gets an interception,
threat to score.
He's going to try to take that to the house, and people are going to stand up watching to see if he does.
Tom Brady credited Cooper DeJean in large part with turning the season around. They said when he was finally put into the starting lineup, the Eagles' defense changed because he can lock somebody down. And that's
how did you think Tom Brady did last night?
I didn't think he was terrible, but he's not ready for this level yet, and that's not his fault. I feel like Tom Brady, who had all the power and clout and could do whatever he wanted, should have declined being the lead guy. Should have said, no, you know what? I want to do like I did with my football career and everything else I've done. I want to work hard. I want to grind. I want to get better at it. And then when I'm ready, maybe I can move up to the top team. I think if you're just tuning into an NFL Sunday and you hear Tom Brady, you would say, oh, yeah, he's fine. But if you're comparing him to Greg Olsen, it's just a big, in my mind, drop off because Tom Brady is just telling you what you just saw, or he's being teed up for an anecdote about his own career.
Too self-referential, right?
Yeah.
Like too often he and again, I guess that's why he's there. That's the power that he has, the draw he has is, hey, I've been in 10 of these things, but you can't reference your own Super Bowls as often as he did.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a lot to talk about, and there isn't anybody that has has more experience with the Super Bowl. They're probably, refs that haven't seen as many Super Bowls as he has. But the thing that kept getting me is he kept calling Patrick Mahomes Patrick, and it sounded like he was talking about like some kid on the playground. Well, Patrick is playing quarterback today. You know, he ate all his lunch and got 100% on his spelling test earlier, and all the girls liked him. I mean, he was talking about like some little kid out there playing pee-wee football.
Yeah, and I know the main reason Fox probably signed the $375 million deal because it's been shown for the most part an announcer can't move the needle. You know, you're either watching the game or you're not, and you're not paying that much attention to the announcer. They can certainly make the experience better. But the main thing you do with Tom Brady is when you have a boardroom full of donors that are spending tens of millions of dollars with Fox, you bring Tom Brady into the room to shake hands and pose for photos. I mean, that's the value of having him on the team. But the broadcast itself, a step back with him from Greg Olsen, and Kevin Burkhardt was play-by-play, and he's really good. But he's also working extra hard at trying to get Tom Brady involved in the
Speaking of working hard to get guys involved, halftime with Gronk, that was rough.
They have no time either. They got like 6 guys they need 1 sentence each from.
He didn't know what camera to look at, and they had to tee him up, and then he just said something he had probably written down earlier and just tried to remember it. It was there are too many people on that desk, but I feel like he was the right guy.
There's also this is like a little dumb thing, but like when they showed Burkhardt and Brady in the booth. And like they had the superimposed Bourbon Street behind them, where it's like an empty Bourbon Street. Like we know they're in the stadium. It's okay.
Show them
that
in the
they're
stadium.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
We don't want them on Bourbon Street, even if we bought it.
They looked like waiters because they had their jackets off, but they didn't have their sleeves rolled up.
White shirts and
it was really kind of strange.
It looked like waiters.
Yeah, Jenny said Tom Brady looked like a Jehovah's Witness. You know, because
he did kind of. Yeah. The dark tie and the white shirt.
Yeah, just the clean image. His jaw's getting more square. Is there something going on there? He's starting to look like almost an animated character.
I mean,
maybe he's just getting thinner.
He hasn't aged.
I can see his bone structure
in like 20 years.
One of the things that I haven't solved, maybe one of you has. Why didn't the NFL call in? I mean, this was all scripted for the Chiefs to three-peat. And when was the call going to go down to the refs to start following the script? I mean, this was all predetermined, and I haven't heard a lot about it. Since it was 34-0, the talk has kind of died down. But it
has not on social media, though. It has not totally died. I was watching some guy's feed on Instagram this morning when he was just like, well, you know, just like I've shown you all year long on this site, on this page, all of the times where the NFL colluded to help the Chiefs win, they finally couldn't do it last night. And we see why that is, and he breaks it all down. Just like, all right, man. Yeah, this has been his shtick the whole season. He can't abandon it after the biggest game, but come on.
But didn't you give pause?
Now we finally see what the Chiefs really are.
But when that first call on the first drive by the Eagles goes against the Eagles, when A.J. Brown is called for pass interference for pushing off, and he does push off the defender's face mask twice, but the hand fighting just usually isn't called on a play like that. And I was like, oh gosh, here we go. And sure enough, there's just an explosion of the call has been made. Gotta make sure the Eagles are stopped on this drive. But then the officials made a kind of a makeup call, and it was even from that point on, and the Eagles rolled. Let's get to the halftime show. It's Kendrick Lamar, Grammy-winning artist, the only Super Bowl performer in history to have won a Pulitzer Prize. He is a storytelling poet set to hip-hop beats and rap music, and this is not for me. I do know a surprising amount of rap music for somebody my age who looks like I do, but I don't know Kendrick Lamar songs, so I couldn't sing along. I like to sing along to the music, or to me, this was kind of like if you go see a local band and they play their own album instead of covers that you know. I just don't know his songs, so this didn't resonate with me.
Yeah, I don't know him either. I thought the energy was kind of low. Maybe that's him. My biggest concern, and it was a big concern out there because there were all sorts of people talking about it, I saw it, was that he comes out standing on top of what looked to be an 87 Buick GNX. And he's got an album called GNX, so I don't doubt that he actually has one of these cars. But any car enthusiast will tell you that there were like 500 of those produced in 1987. It was the fastest American-made car to that point in the 80s. Maybe it closed it out being that, but this thing was just like, this is like an American icon. And those things get about $275,000 at auction now. There's hardly
I feel like
any.
he has the money.
Well, he's got the money, but he's standing on it like scraping the hood with his heels.
You're worried about the dent.
There were like 35 people in that car.
I was so worried about the car. It's just disrespect.
Yeah.
I mean, he gives the respect by naming his album after the car, and then he's walking all over it with his shoes. And who does that?
Serena Williams was one of the surprise guests. She does, that's called the Crip Walk, right?
Yeah,
after the gang.
Yep.
And they're both, Kendrick Lamar and Serena Williams are both from Compton. Do I have that right?
That's right, yeah.
And Kendrick Lamar at one point was in the Crips or brought the Crips and Bloods together?
That I don't know exactly.
I know he's brought the two factions together before, the blue and the red.
Yeah, and the blue is the Crips, and that's like Snoop always did. Like he was always a Crip. He always represented the blue. I think it's less gang related within hip hop now than it used to be. I will say my wife was like, "Is that Serena Williams?" And I was like, "No. What are you talking about?"
You're like, "No,
it's crazy. It's just a
sure looks like her though."
Sure enough, like 3 minutes later, all over Twitter, it's Serena Williams. I will say I enjoyed the halftime show, but I am a Kendrick Lamar fan. I knew all of the songs, especially the "Not Like Us" and like the big moment. That's kind of the big song of the year.
That won the Grammy for record and song of the year. It's the diss track aimed at Drake.
Yes,
correct?
Exactly.
Not Like Us?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Where he calls Drake a pedophile?
Not in so many words, but yeah, absolutely.
Well, in the song he does, in those words.
He doesn't say the word Drake's a ped or the words Drake's a pedophile.
But he references his album about being a lover boy, right?
Oh yeah, and he talks about, if you're a girl who's with him, hide your little sister. The big moment, he had the little A minor chain on, and you got 85,000 people in the Superdome going A minor, and
what does that mean exactly?
So he says he's trying to strike a chord, but it's probably A minor, and so it's like the chord A minor music, but it's also a minor because he's a pedophile.
Well, and he is a storyteller. He's a poet. Clearly, this was he was telling a little history of Black America story as it goes, because it was not a real diverse, inclusive group of performers at halftime. I mean, it was all Black performers.
Yeah,
correct?
absolutely.
Did I miss anybody?
No, I don't think so. And I mean, you had Sam Jackson out there as Uncle Sam. There was a lot of symbolism. But yeah,
No doubt.
I'll say in my house we enjoyed it. It was a good halftime show, but understandably it's not the kind of more melodic, even like a Rihanna or an Usher, recently who have had songs on the radio for 20 years. That's just not quite the kind of artist that Kendrick is.
Yeah, and I was watching our boys, in their 20s thread, and like Cade loved it because he loves Kendrick Lamar. A couple of our other boys are like, yeah, it's just in for me. It's I'm not into Kendrick. His music doesn't resonate with me. So yeah, it certainly got a lot of people talking, and there's been 11 million additional views today alone, just of the halftime show.
Well, that's,
so that's I bet the ratings tank. They're not going to tank.
It's the biggest audience for any concert in the world. Right?
Quickie
I mean,
poll.
that's it. It doesn't. You can draw 5 million people to a stadium, and it's not that big.
That's why they do it for free. They don't get paid. WCI Pools and Spas and Ames and Urbandale.
Who had a worse Super Bowl? Was it Drake?
Yeah,
Patrick Mahomes?
So just to go over these one at a time.
Yeah.
So Drake's not named, but there is a moment, and it's been captured, where Kendrick Lamar just looks at the camera and makes
Drake.
sure that Drake knows that this whole thing, he's been dragged for the entire halftime
To
show.
have a diss track not only win 5 Grammys, one of which was Song of the Year, but then to be played at the Super Bowl and have it be kind of the moment musically of the year, that's rough on Drake. I would go away for a year and just let this all blow over. Patrick Mahomes, who lost the Super Bowl.
Yeah, we talked about him.
Taylor Swift, who was, I think, only shown once on the broadcast.
Once on the broadcast, but
The Eagles
loudly
fans booed her. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
gonna
they
boo Santa
were-
Claus. They're gonna boo Taylor Swift.
Yeah, she was loudly booed. Now, she's from Pennsylvania, but she's now a Chiefs fan
Yeah,
because
they
her
don't care.
boyfriend plays for the Chiefs.
What happened
Oh.
with the Fox score bug? I don't know this one.
So
People hate it.
they launched a new score bug, and I noticed it immediately. I was like, what is that? I guess they launched it at the Super Bowl because that's when most people are watching, but it's also when most people are gonna hate it. And it's just new. It's just different, right? I'm sure we'll get used to it. It'll probably
The
be their
graphics
score
were
bug
different. I
next
mean,
year.
I don't think
Yeah.
I noticed anything.
Yeah, they're on the bottom of the
Wrong with
screen.
it.
All of that is.
Yeah.
Oh,
And-
a
and-
guy like your friend Chris Hassel, Andy,
Oh my God.
probably could write a 10,000-word essay about his disdain for the new score bug.
Why? What was wrong with it?
Well, the best description
It's just
of a
kinda
hater
big.
that I saw said the new Fox score bug looks like your grandfather's iPhone.
Yeah, Sam Lozada says it was absolute trash, objectively not a good graphic.
Well, because why? Because it's too big.
It is big. I don't like the big lettering. I don't like the fact that it's not all one thing.
It was before it was the logos and all one bar on
Right.
Fox.
Yeah. So you got some bleed through the field behind it.
Yeah.
It doesn't. This is. The
I mean,
kind
it
of
looks
thing
a
that
little
doesn't
elementary. It
matter
looks
to me
kind of
as much.
simple, but I mean, did it tell the score? Show you the number of timeouts and what down
Yeah.
it is and
Yeah.
the time left? I mean, it told you everything you needed to know, right?
And then a lot of people look over on the right on the 40-yard line. You can see the
Yeah, the
04,
stats. Yeah.
no, that's the
the play clock.
play clock
Oh, yeah.
being
that was-
over there
that
bothered
was-
some
yeah,
people.
that was
And
strange,
then
yeah.
when the stats did come in, like you see Jalen Hurts, it looks like the Chiron from my first job in Valdosta. It's just like a little white writing down in the right-hand corner, but it
Yeah.
did not spoil my experience
yeah,
at all.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't spoil. Yeah, I mean, it's make funnable.
Yeah.
I can see.
Of these 4 choices, I'm going to say Mahomes had the worst Super Bowl. I think it's pretty bad for Drake. I
Yeah.
don't know how he
This
recovers.
is Patrick Mahomes.
but
in a
Mahomes is
blowout.
out of the GOAT conversation for a long time after that loss and that Super Bowl performance.
I mean, he had 2 interceptions turn into 14 points. And that's horrible.
Yeah.
For a quarterback in the Super Bowl.
He looked rattled. I mean, he did look rattled by that great Eagles defense. We had the first president, President Trump, attended the Super Bowl. This is hard to believe. He got a loud cheer. 59 Super Bowls. First president to attend the Super Bowl. This, I want to look into this more. Like, why? I know presidents, maybe it's just tradition, often have attended a World Series, but the NFL became America's pastime a long time ago. I mean, it's far more popular. It's probably more popular than all the other sports combined. So that surprises me.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, hard to protect. It's a divisive thing. I don't know what else would have been going on at that time. I mean, certainly there would have been, lots and lots of opportunities. I don't know exactly what the answer would be.
You know, probably
I'm sure he's not the first one that thought of it.
No, I wouldn't think so. You know, who probably had a great Super Bowl Sunday, Andy Sterner. Here's Andy talking to WHO 13's Griffin Wright before Super Bowl Sunday.
I would say about 6 Bud Lights bottles is probably what I'm going to do. Maybe a little bit of liquor action in there with some shooters. I'm a tequila guy personally. I've got some whiskey at home, so might dabble in that. I'm really not, I got work on Monday, those things. So, I'm not going to go crazy about it, but I want to make sure that I have a good time watching the big game,
What would crazy look like for Andy Sterner?
Wait. Can we play that one more time? I need to total this up.
Yep.
How many drinks
I
are
would
we
say
talking
about
about here?
6 Bud Lights bottles is probably what I'm going to do. Maybe a little bit of liquor action in there with some shooters. I'm a tequila guy personally. I've got some whiskey at home, so might dabble in that. I'm really not, I got work on Monday, those things. So, I'm not going to go crazy about it, but I want to make sure that I have a good time watching the big game,
Okay, we are talking about at least 10 drinks here because he got 6 Bud Lights, liquor shooters.
Yep.
So that's at least 2.
Dabbles in tequila,
so that's at least 1, and some whiskey. So that's at least 1. That's a hell of an effort.
And mixing it up like that too.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Anybody out there in the comments section watching on Facebook or YouTube, anybody know Andy Sterner and if he made it into work today?
Can we get a wellness check, please?
Yeah, let's see how he's doing. And by the way, how awesome, when Griffin Wright went up and talked to that guy, Andy, you know what those MOSs are usually like. MOS stands for Man on the Street. Those interviews usually...
You don't know what you're going to get.
Aren't great. You do a really good job with them because you stay at people until they say something interesting. But, that's gold. He's just at the grocery store, and I don't think he's trying to be funny. I think he's just about 6 Bud Lights, and I'll dabble in the tequila a little bit. I'll get into the whiskey, some shooters. I got to be at work Monday though. I can't overdo it.
Well, I mean, I'm going to have to draw the line right there though.
Yeah. Commercials at the Super Bowl. Dunkings was good.
Yeah, I didn't see that one.
So Jeremy Strong from Succession, he has a reputation for being a real method actor. Method acting meaning getting so into the role, you have to call me by the name of my character, the Daniel Day-Lewis type stuff. So he comes out of the barrel of coffee, Apocalypse Now style, making fun of his method acting. Surprise was Bill Belichick had his girlfriend with him in this commercial. She's there. Casey Affleck, Ben Affleck, they were good. It was fun. When Harry Met Sally, that didn't... Oh,
saw that one.
Yeah. I thought this would be more of a smile or more funny.
Yeah,
I think
it's not.
Did you laugh, AD?
No, not at all.
No, and it was hard for me not to look at Meg Ryan's lips. And
that
just
was
think,
the talk in my house too. Was wow, she's had a lot of
getting
work.
the work done.
It seems like though she's calmed it down, or maybe
I hope so.
Maybe some of the work
It was
is
worse
just
10
kind
years ago.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Good.
I mean, I appreciate the effort. We were all kind of wondering what role Sydney Sweeney was going to play.
Yeah, talk about underutilized.
Yeah.
I'll have what she's having, and they put her in a turtleneck up to
high
her
neck
chin.
sweater. Yeah, what's up with that?
Yeah, they're not leaning into.
Give us a hair analysis
One
on
of
Billy
her-
Crystal, Murph.
Yeah, he's definitely got a system going up there. He's had it for a while, but he does a nice job of blending it all in with the beard. So it looks good. I mean, I think he's aged okay. Maybe the problem with this commercial was partly it just makes you realize how long ago that was. and how
I think
old
Meg
you
Ryan
are.
looks pretty good there. I think she does.
Well,
I think she looks pretty good.
You didn't see the commercial, the close up when she has to talk.
Yep.
It's got a little bit more of the Joker feel to it.
I saw this commercial. I watched this closely.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was just looking at the back of Billy Crystal's head, and I was like, "Is that him?" Because his hair used to be really curly, and now it's totally straight.
The Mountain Dew commercial where Seal starts singing as a seal, I did laugh out loud. I mean, it's ridiculous, but when the seal is Seal, I laughed.
I heard this one going on in the background. I didn't see it. You know,
is
the
he
ones
singing "Kiss of the Rose"? Is that what he said?
Yeah, Kiss
well,
from
and like
a Rose,
a revamped version
is that
of it.
Batman song or something?
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, baby. Yeah.
The one that was freaking me out was that I just hated was that disgusting cowboy head.
The cowboy skin hat, or
that was what was that? That was gross.
The head becomes a hat.
Yeah,
the
it makes
skin
it
turns
look
into
like
a
a
hat.
deformed alien or something.
What is it even for? I don't.
That weird, like a weird company that I'd never heard of before.
Jeez.
It was really weird. And the other
flesh
guys looked like they had
cowboy
condoms on their head.
Yeah, these look like nightmare aliens.
Yeah, this reminded me of that terrible Super Bowl commercial where the kid had like Skittle acne, and the girl picked it off his face and ate it.
Ate it, yeah. The Jeep, Harrison Ford for Jeep. This was an effective ad.
That was pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, very patriotic ad. I thought at first when he appeared, until it became more clear he was in modern clothes, I thought we might be seeing a
1923 preview
1923.
there.
I was trying to remember.
Yeah, it's coming up on the
year is.
23rd. Yeah, that's when that season 2 debuts.
And now here's Zip Rizzo, the legend, calling Cooper DeJean's touchdown.
Here there goes Mahomes, takes the snap. He goes back to throw over the middle. There's Cooper DeJean has got it, and he's gonna score. Touchdown for the little old kid from Marcus, Maryland, Leghorn. Touchdown. The zipper hasn't been this happy since his zipper was pulled down for the first time as a preteen by little old Lisa Goldenblatt in 1952.
One of the interesting things there is,
OAB, CIG, WKRP.
did you notice that Zip Rizzo is just calling the game in his small town Iowa radio studio without any crowd noise or you can't hear the game. You can't even hear a TV monitor.
That's what
Just
he does. Yeah, he
does.
he calls games. He's like, remember when Jim Brockmeyer did that? He'd been fired, and he just kept on
Just kept
kept on
broadcasting.
commentating. Yeah, commentating, even though he was in the back. He was like in the bathroom. Brockmeyer, one of the few back to front wipers out there.
More hot topics. Milan Momcilovic makes a surprising return less than a month after hand surgery. And then Iowa State goes out and beats TCU by 30 points. If you're watching us, you're seeing some of these highlights courtesy of Mark Freund at WHO 13. The Cyclones are 15-1 with Momcilovic and 3-4 without him.
Yeah, I think some people were probably holding their breath a little bit with this game. They had been way off, and it was such a big stage with game day there. You forget how early they start, and they're just talking about everything. I mean, just on and on and on. Right there. Drake got a good mention though in the show. I appreciated that. The Drake Bulldogs, it is.
Yeah, well, yeah, Brian Harden all but forced them to mention Drake.
But I mean, the stage is just huge for that game, and they hit it out of the park. They did everything right. I was really glad to see the way that game turned out for them.
TCU, not a great team, but the spacing especially improved so much. Jones coming off the bench looked more comfortable. Drives were less forced. It was a great bounce back game. Iowa State down 2 today in the new AP top 10, so to number 10. By the way, 1 and 2, Auburn and Alabama. Is it football season? Auburn and
Yeah, no
Alabama
kidding.
1-2. Let's get back to College Game Day for a moment here. This brought about a lot of confusion. We anticipated some of it because College Game Day was 10 to 11, and then the game was on ESPN Plus. Now, I told as many people as I could reach that the game would be free even to non-subscribers. Like, you could go to ESPN Plus, but there still are a lot of people that can get confused about how to do that. How do I get to ESPN Plus to watch this game? If you do go through the app, you could watch it on your phone or TV. Andy, ESPN doing this is nothing more than this is the direction it's going. They're ramping us up to the day where it's all on ESPN Plus.
I understand that, but it needs to make more sense than that. It needs to be, you can make it a more logical transition than that. You can't have this big post-game show on one channel and then move the game to another one. That just doesn't make sense. I don't care
It confused a lot of people.
how tech savvy you are. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, it's like, serving an appetizer to people at one table and being like, okay, well, your dinner is over here in the bar. It's just, you don't get up and move. You're set. You want them. You've got your audience. They're set up. You set them up. Leave them alone. There are other games that you can put on the ESPN Plus to make people go there. And ESPN Plus is not, I haven't had a perfect experience with it. I don't know about you guys.
I lost some audio at this game Saturday.
I have a TV where it
burst.
glitches all the time. I don't love it. I understand we're going this way, but it just seems like get this shit worked out before you start doing this stuff, because it just drives people crazy. And you don't want to anger the customer. That's business 101.
And what drove me crazy is the reminder of how difficult it is to go completely from one platform to another. Because once the Hawkeyes tip off, you've got the Hawkeyes on Peacock and the Cyclones on ESPN Plus, and to back out of one all the way back to the other, that's at least a minute. Like, it's not channel back. It takes a while. At least it does on my television. AD went to the Hawkeye game against Wisconsin. Another good effort from Iowa, but couldn't score at crunch time. End up losing by 9. The Badgers sweep the season series. AD, what was the atmosphere there like?
It was good. It was better than I expected it to be. The place wasn't full. Behind the baskets was a little sparse, but I mean, I'd say 75% full and a pretty energized crowd. More red in the crowd than I would have liked to have seen, but I guess that's to be expected when you have a good team on the road. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by the atmosphere in the arena and really by the fight of the team.
They
all the
played
way
hard.
to the end. They did, and they have been. And you could tell they're into it. Peyton Sanford, who's been struggling as a player, he's just as much of like a leader and trying to get the crowd into it as he always has been. They're just not good enough, especially down Owen Freeman when it gets close in these late in these games. Teams like Purdue and Wisconsin, and we saw it earlier in the year with Iowa State, are just able to kind of pull away. And so yeah, Iowa they certainly haven't given up. But they're just not quite good enough to pick up wins against these good teams.
Frustration setting in. Here's Bryce Sanford from Waukee after the game.
The same level of competition and compete night in, night out when the results don't go your way.
Just sick of losing, so that's the mindset. I want to fucking win, and can't do it right now.
Yeah, he
Amen. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Apologize for the language quickly thereafter, but these guys are frustrated. They've lost, is it 5 of 6 or 6 of 7? I think it's 5 of 6.
5 of 6, and have a tough schedule coming up. And Price played really well, certainly in the first half of that game.
He did, and I think if you're a Hawkeye fan that still wants the season to be as good as possible, the thing you worry about is you had a really good effort at home against Purdue and then lost. Then you had a really good effort against Wisconsin and then lost. And frustration is clearly setting in, as you just heard there. And at some point, it can just get to be a let's get this season over with mentality on a subconscious level. And that's when it can get ugly. And they'll have to work to not have that happen.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like the rest of the season, the talk is all about where are we going now with our coach.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I think that's true.
Which is no fun.
Confluence is the official beer of Murph and Andy and will be available at the upcoming party, which is 11 days away at the Irish, February 21st, beginning at 7 p.m. That is out in West Glen. You're invited. Please come if you can. Confluence, where good things come together. Now, on a Monday, let's get some more.
But wait, there's more. From Either Or Eatery and Patio.
So this week, Either Or has turned itself into a Valentine's Day pop-up. The bar has a Valentine's Day pop-up called Love on the Rocks, complete with a new menu. Here's some of the items that you can get from the bar now. They're going to run this through the weekend so everybody gets a chance to try it out. The Girl Dinner Special is also running all week. That's a soup, slider, fries, and a dessert. And it's all Either Or style, which means it's really, really good. Well, welcome to Super Sick Monday. That's what they call it.
Boy, you know
look at Mucinex just making it into an ad. An estimated 22.6 million Americans will call in sick today or already have. That total includes 12.9 million who will take a pre-approved day off, 4.8 million who are trading shifts with a coworker to get the day off, but an additional 12.9 million will be late to work. Not a real productive day. Probably more wind in the sails of those who are pushing to turn today into a national holiday.
Yeah, another reason.
Have you guys ever been legitimately sick on this day? Because nobody believes you. And it's happened to me. Like, I've gotten sick on Super Bowl Sunday like 3 or 4 times in my life. And one time in high school, I had to call in sick to my, bagging grocery job on and my boss just fully didn't believe me.
No way.
I think even a couple of times at Cakes, I had to call in sick, and everybody's like, "Yeah, sure." You were like that guy on WHO drinking 6 Bud Lights. I was like, "No, I'm throwing up. I'm legitimately sick. I had a terrible night," but nobody believes you.
I don't think I have. I don't think I have, but it sounds like we're in the minority. It's also the start of the Angel Reese meal deal at McDonald's. That begins today. That offer, it comes with a quarter pounder topped with cheese, bacon, onions, pickles, and a bold smoky barbecue sauce, along with a side of French fries and a Hi-C orange lava burst to drink.
Maybe not the healthiest meal, but
no, it sounds good though. I love that orange lava burst, man. That's great.
do like a McDonald's hamburger.
Yeah, it's said that the quarter pounder was chosen for Angel because it coincides with her 25% field goal percentage. President Trump has ordered the U.S. Mint to stop producing pennies. So pennies have been in production for 233 years, but presidents from Clinton to Bush to Obama to Trump have considered halting their production. They have long cost more to produce than they are actually worth. Now, Trump said that each penny cost 2 cents to produce and distribute, but it's actually worse than that. The Mint's annual report says each penny actually cost 3.69 cents to make and distribute. There have long been more pennies in circulation than demand for them. The last time pennies were made of 100% copper, because we call them a copper penny, bright copper penny, was all the way back in 1857. They look nice, but copper is very soft, and that it really didn't work. It didn't work real well for a coin that was being passed around all the time. So
it seems overdue. I mean, if they're costing more than they're worth, then this is the definition of
you can't use them
unneeded excessive cost.
You can't use them
or anything.
No, you can't. There's no more penny gumball machines. Yeah. And I mean, the problem is that you got to have some kind of form of change. Now you don't have any, provided that the world runs out of pennies, which is not real likely that that's going to happen. But
plus Lincoln's already on the 5, so it's like
you got Lincoln taken care of. You're
not taking him out.
Yeah. So the pennies, they're out there. People throw pennies in the garbage. saw a stat one time about all the pennies that end up being thrown away. A Cocker Spaniel has broken the Guinness World Record for longest human tunnel traveled by a dog on a skateboard. Coda, trained by...
This is a record that's kept, huh?
Yeah. Coda's trained by Japanese dog trainer Satomi Asano. Broke the record while traveling through 40 people, beating out the previous record of 33 people.
Oh, now I see those are legs. Okay.
Yeah.
I see the shoes now.
Now, not all skateboarding tricks go according to plan. Sometimes they go up in flames, sometimes literally. Andrew, show us an example of that, please. Getting all set. Get the gas on. Gonna run the. He's gonna roll through a trail of fire, pouring the gas. Anytime guys use gasoline in a video, you know something's going wrong, right?
Okay,
whether they're starting a bonfire, he lights it, and then he's got gasoline on his pants. He's gonna light the guy's pants. Oh, the guy just starts running.
He does know to stop and roll. Roll, dude. He's taking his pants off.
Pulls his pants off, and he's hopping. He still can't get them off. You got his shoes on. You can't take off your pants when you got shoes and socks on. He can't get them off. They're still burning. How much gasoline did you pour on those pants, dude?
Man, this guy
can't get them.
This guy is whiter than Nicole Kidman, too. Look at how pasty his legs are.
Not anymore. That's bright red after that. Some second, third-degree burns. Maybe
this guy's rolling on him. This good friend.
He can't get it. Oh, he's finally got it up. Hey, man, if there's a video and somebody's pants fall down, I'm there for it.
This started okay. You just need to stop with the fire trail. Why did he think I'm also going to set your pants on fire?
Yeah,
and the gasoline
looks good.
He's got
fire trail's good.
He's got like rolled up flare pants, so some of the gas is like catching in the rolls down there. It's like a puddle. Look at this thing. He lights his pants on fire, and they just.
Oh, gee, liar, pants on fire.
He just chucks his skateboard and takes off. 8 OnlyFans creators have teamed up to rent a Miami mansion to make content. They've named it the Bop House. There you go. Here's the team photo. They have had to hire security to keep the pervs off the property.
I bet.
And keep them online where they want them, where you have to pay to see them.
Right.
Was it a good idea? Well, with 3 million followers on social media, the Bop House reportedly brought in $15 million in the month of January alone.
My goodness.
Divide that 8 ways. January alone. Man. OnlyFans.
AD, you got to start putting your feet in pudding or something. Like, make some money for the kids for college.
I'll see what I can do.
Probably could earn money that way. Like every time somebody's like, "Oh man, you know what this person's OnlyFans page has?" And you're like, "No, what?" And they tell you, what? Like, "Oh no, it isn't." And no, that's real, and it works.
That's it.
From the files of what in God's name is wrong with people, we bring you this. In Mount Joy, Pennsylvania, 67-year-old Christ Wolf has been charged. Christ. His name is almost Christ. It's an
Close.
H away from Christ. Christ Wolf has been charged with harassment after allegedly leaving over 30 obscene voicemails for the Mount Joy Christian Church's staff on their voicemail.
Could be a problem.
This guy called us once, right?
Probably. According to Mount Joy Police, these messages spanning several weeks contain profanity and explicit content in his voice. Wolf is currently awaiting a preliminary hearing. He's leaving obscene messages for the staff at a church. You've seen the staff at a church usually? There's usually a bunch of older retired women, right? I mean, what are you saying? Hello, this is Mr. Wolf. You know what would bring me a mount of joy? For you people to stick your heads between your legs and kiss your own butts. Goodbye. Good afternoon, ladies. Just a heads up. I sneaked into the church last night and I teabagged the holy water. Amen. That's your more, everybody.
The end. The end. Wow. All right.
What's wrong with people, Murph?
I don't know, Andy.
What are you doing?
I don't
Christ
know.
Wolf?
It's time for throwdowns.
Throwdowns. It's Throwdowns. Backed by Heartland Tire and Auto.
Let's throw it down, powered by Heartland Tire and Auto, treating you like family in Ankeny, Waukee, Knoxville, Boone, and Creston. Drove through some weather on my way over to Iowa City on Saturday morning, and glad I had good tires. So get to Heartland Tire and Auto. The winter's going to come at some point.
Maybe tomorrow. I think
maybe.
no, Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday.
Yeah, this week is going to be
right?
a rough. Yeah, this is supposed to be a rough weather week. We've got 3 different chances for snow this week. So
kind of
Heartland Tire and
excited
Auto
for
will
some
be
snow.
happy to hear that. Yeah, they'll shod
by
you
the
up
way,
with some new tires.
Just hearing snow and Heartland Tire snows and snow tires. The Iowa State game on ESPN Plus, the exteriors of Hilton, it was covered in snow. Did it snow up there? Did they show file footage on a game day broadcast?
It must have been file footage because
It didn't snow in Ames, did it? There's no snow
I
down
don't
here.
think so. There was nothing here. And like I said, I got about halfway to Iowa City and it started to get a little freezing drizzle. And they said that was going to be in Des Moines, but it never got there. And when we parked at Carver, it was snowing. But by the time we got out of the game, it had all melted. So even if there was some snow in Ames, it certainly wasn't enough to make those pictures or like the video they had. I think they were using file
That's
video.
bad. Take a camera outside and shoot a new exterior. If it wasn't, let us know in the comments if you were there.
Yeah,
It's hard to believe there was snow.
Yeah, I don't
And
think
if they're
so.
using file footage, how in the world did they resist the urge to throw some pigs and barns and beans?
Right, where's the cornfield?
corn?
All right, Murph, let's throw it down below. We have the Eagles, Chiefs, Ravens, Bills, and Lions as the favorites to win next year's Super Bowl. Kind of like your knockout polls on Sound Off. Of these 5, which are you most certain won't win the Super Bowl a year from now?
I don't like my answer, but I would pick the Lions. Jared Goff just isn't in the class of these other quarterbacks here. And that was a really bad exit made by the Lions against the Commanders. I would love to see the Lions in the Super Bowl, but if I had to wage a bet on these 5, I would pick the Lions.
Well, I would pick the Lions too if the Bills weren't included in that, and if that weren't written in stone as a commandment that the Bills will not win the Super Bowl.
Ouch.
The only, right.
Boy.
I mean, the only thing against you is history, like
Yeah.
all of it.
When you total
Even
up
if they
all the
get
Lions
there.
Super Bowl wins,
Yeah, but they haven't gotten to the Super Bowl, so
is that better? Does that make it more likely that they're going to win or less
no.
likely?
I just think that the Bills, no matter what happens, I mean, they go to the Super Bowl, they can build a big lead in the Super Bowl, but they will not win the Super Bowl.
I think you're right. Andy, what's the most important aspect of a Super Bowl party? Is it like the TV audio setup, the food and drink menu, the guest list, something else?
I thought that was going to be easy, but you really did pick some good choices there. Any and all of those things can ruin the party or make the party. I think it's probably food. I mean, if the food, if there's like if somebody just brings a bag of potato chips and sour cream dip, then there's no way it's going to be a good party. Ironically, it's the game that matters the least.
Right.
Right? Isn't that strange?
Wrong. It's the guest list. You have one bad guess, or God forbid, a few bad guests that show up too early, stay too late, don't bring anything, drink all your good drinks, good beer, eat all your food, have bad manners, don't help to pick up.
Yeah, but what's
talk
the number
during the game?
Yes, that's the worst guest that I've ever witnessed at a Super Bowl party. Stood in front of the television,
Blocking other people?
and talked nonstop. Like stood up in front of the TV and wouldn't shut up. At the Super Bowl, they did this.
Yeah. See, that's worse than just one bag of chips.
Yeah, that is. Murph, when you're at a party for a major sporting event like the Super Bowl, do you want to be the one in control of the remote?
More need to be. Yeah,
you need to be.
I need to be. Yes.
So the pressure doesn't get to you.
Yeah, it's just it.
Because there's some pressure there, especially now with rewinding and things like that, where and in the Super Bowl you don't have that opportunity. Like most sporting events, if you rewind a little bit to see a play over, if you miss something, you just fast forward during the commercials. But in the Super Bowl, the commercials are part of it. There's really no time to catch back up, and if you get too far behind, social media is spoiling things before you even get there. I was on the remote last night. There's a lot of pressure.
There is pressure, but I want the wheel. I want that pressure.
My wife will tell you that she doesn't want me anywhere near the remote if we're watching a sporting event. Because I drive her nuts. Yeah, I mean, I jump backwards, jump forward. I mean, I watch it how I want to watch it, and you forget that the other people in the room may not want to watch it like that, and I've got that. So she has gotten mad at me about a number of things in our marriage.
That happens.
This
topic for another day.
Probably been one of the more consistent topics, though.
All right, that's throwdowns.
Grimaldi's fan photos can be sent to us here. Murph_Andy at IowaEverywhere.com.
Oh,
and there's my kids at the.
What's Jenny?
The
Jenny wearing like soundproof?
Yeah, we have her these like sound earphones because sometimes things just get too loud for her. Those jumbotrons and the music. So she had that on. I did grab this picture, though, which is one of my favorites, her with her Caitlin Clark, because that was really the reason we went to Iowa City, was to make the pilgrimage to the Caitlin Clark jersey, the Final Four banners. But she was out there. She had a little pom-pom in her hair and had a really good time. So we had fun.
That's awesome. That's a really cute picture. And it's presented by Grimaldi's Coal Brick Oven Pizzeria in West Des Moines and the district at Prairie Trail in Ankeny. It is time for the Andrew Downs audio drop of the day. We call it the AD Squared.
Well, it's powered by Game Day Men's Health. I go to the one in Ankeny in the Prairie Trail neighborhood. You can go to West Des Moines on University or on the eastern side of the state. North Liberty is where it is there. We've already talked about and played the Zip Rizzo call of Cooper DeJean's pick six last night, but you know how I love a foreign language call. Here's how it sounded on Brazilian television.
Sai do pocket, tenta o passe em movimento, interceptado! Lá vai o Cooper DeJean, ele recebe os bloqueios, ainda o Cooper DeJean para a endzone, touchdown! Wow! Touchdown, Philadelphia Eagles! Cooper DeJean, dos grandes jogadores da defesa dos Eagles, interceptando o Patrick Mahomes numa terceira para 16.
Yeah, we suck compared to some of these foreign language calls. Like, really look at the Eagles broadcaster. Listen to the end of the game. You played it earlier, and then this guy on a pick six. Yeah, exactly. This is way more fun.
Yeah, that guy sounded like Bernie Sanders. This guy's getting into it.
I do want to hear from Mitch Holthus at some point.
I'm going to keep looking.
We'll keep looking, yeah.
Really.
Man.
Seriously, we want to hear from him.
Well, I guess you can disrespect the Chiefs, and I guess you can
disregard
doubt the Chiefs. And
in doubt.
You can doubt the Chief. Yeah,
Quickie poll results presented by WCI Pools and Spas.
Who had the worst night? Patrick Mahomes running away with this one at 55% of the vote. Drake after that. The Fox
Drake
scoreboard.
polling at 20% though.
Yeah, he had a bad night. Taylor Swift only 8% of the vote. Drake had a good Saturday though. I was there.
Different Drake. I do believe that Chris Hassel is using.
There's me at the Drake game, by the way. I prepared this photo. We didn't get to talk about Drake basketball.
That's good. Nice quarter zip there too.
That is that's my friend. That's John Riemenschneider. See, I didn't.
That's John Riemenschneider himself.
That's his dad. That's Mr. Riemenschneider. Yeah.
The Riemenschneiders are loyal fans. I can tell that.
It was really, really nice. It was fun going there. But and our friend Joey the Worm was there in the crowd, and he took a picture, and he's like, "Of course, it's still the Nap Center." It was a selfie, and a guy behind him was just sleeping. Game went to overtime. The guy's just out, just sleeping. It was a close game, but I will never stop being impressed in how Brian Harden makes that arena a little bit better every single year. I mean, it's
It
legitimately
has.
a really nice basketball arena now. Closing in all the corners and the tributes to the past teams, and he's got all these kind of cool displays that are up. The whole place is so much better. And,
So
and
it's a little bit like the Iowa Cubs, Andy. You know how they do like one thing every year? They do something to make the experience a little better.
But what I don't understand is why they waited so. I mean, Harden is the first AD to do that.
Money, maybe? I don't know.
He's the most recent. That went in my senior year of college, and it just sat there, just aging for the longest time. He was the one that finally picked up the ball and said, "All right, look, we got to update this place.
Let's make it less sterile, too."
Also had a couple of Des Moines IPAs, Confluence down there, and I forgot those babies are 7% ABV.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I intentionally walked through campus on
It's a
my
good
way
beer.
back out to my car.
Hey, thank you for being part of Murph and Andy here on a Monday, supporting local media on Iowa Everywhere. You can find everything at iowaeverywhere.com. Please like and subscribe. Also at iowaeverywhere.com, you'll find the merch store if you're looking for some Iowa Everywhere merch. We're back Wednesday, and we hope you are too.